So exciting.
The New York Times calls it pulse-pounding. It has non-stop action, says the Los Angeles Times. More enjoyable than the original. Fluid, fast, and fun. Snipes is badder than ever.
Not know who you are messing with!
Blade 2, rated R, now playing.
Hey, this is Matt. Once again, what about the end of the video? There's another paid request, this time for Vlad. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, whether it be a review, or a re-review, or a random list, topic, ranking, reaction, commentary, whatever it may be, pretty much anything, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for Blade 2 from 2002. Sadly, I did have a video of this, but it's no longer up, which is cool. It just gives me a chance to re-review and re-watch the film. But I know there's a lot of people that don't like Blade 2. There's a lot of people that think it's horrible, it's terrible, it's a crappy sequel. I have never understood that. If you do, to each your own, but I never understood it. I love the first Blade, but this is my favorite Blade film. I think the first Blade did a great job introducing the Daywalker, Wesley Snipes. Wonderful scene at the beginning during that rave, that club. I think this amped it up a few notches. I really enjoyed Guillermo del Toro's direction. It's my favorite film he's directed, personally. The villain, I like Stephen Dorff. I thought this was a more intimidating idea for the villain. Because while I do like Stephen Dorff, the whole blood god thing, I'm like, okay, whatever. This, I like this infection that felt like a zombie movie at times. Or at least a fast-moving zombie at times. Where Luke Goss plays Nomak, and he's attacking vampires. So you have something that's above even the vampire deck of the food chain. And to me, that's interesting, is to have a villain that's even worse than vampires. Like something that vampires fear. To the point that they need Blade's help. I really enjoy that concept. I enjoy that direction that they took it in. And it felt even more like a horror film. It felt even more like a creature feature film. Especially with the Luke Goss's creatures that he infects and turns called the Reapers, where their mouths open up like this. Yes, there's CG enhancements. Once in a while some practical. But I like the idea. I like the look of it. And I thought Luke Goss did fine as the villain. And like I said, I like that creature feature zombie, that aesthetic added to Blade. I thought that was really cool. And when I say it feels like more of a horror film, when you get to the underground sewer system, and there's that shot where Braid, who the hell is Braid? You know what, this new one should be called Braid, not Blade, because Mahershala Ali, he's not Blade. This is Blade. So call him Braid. Or call him whatever the hell. Just don't call it Comeback. Blade running, and he's through the sewers. You got the creatures on the walls coming after him. Looks like a fucking, like, Dawn of the Dead remake, which this was before that. 20 Days Later, which I know those are not zombies. Those are crazy infected. But it just, listen, I like that aesthetic. And it felt like they were able to amp up the action. They were able to utilize Wesley Snipes' martial arts more. They were able, I mean, from the beginning, I enjoy in Prague where, well, in Prague we have Luke Goss, and this is where a lot of the action takes place in. But like the first time we see Wesley Snipes, he's shooting, he's kicking ass, taking names, he gets in a bike, decaps a vampire, and he gets some knife, martial arts from. It's like, yeah, this is even more showing his martial arts prowess. We saw that in Blade. I think this amped it up a few notches. I thought this was a really exciting opening. Hell, a lot more exciting than in Blade Trinity. And for those who've seen it, you know how badass it is. For those who haven't seen it, I want to give away with the details of how badass it is. And then the cast. I'm glad they brought Chris Christopherson back, because he was a wonderful addition in the first movie. I liked him even more in this one, because in the first film, he was at the base, centered there. Here, he gets to be part of the mission. He just be part of the group. He gets to be mingling more with Blade around the battlefield. He gets some really great lines, especially with Ron Perlman. There's a bit where they're all in the I keep wanting to say caves, but the sewer system, and Chris is like, "Some of us can't see the dark, you fucking nippleheads." That's like my favorite line from Chris Christopherson. He's a great joy. Smart decision to bring him back in, which then dumbfounds me with the stupid decision to kill him off in the next movie. Like, you bring him back just to kill him off in the next movie. David Goyer, you're a fucking moron. Yeah, David Goyer helped write this, but I think Guillermo del Toro and Wesley Snipes helped shape it better. David Goyer, you wrote and directed Blade Trinity. Maybe that's why Wesley Snipes was getting high. That still doesn't excuse Wesley Snipes' behavior, to be fair, but David Goyer's not a good director, based on his track record. The Unborn, other bullshit, the Invisible. Anyway, getting back to this, a good movie, and an underrated film. I don't understand why people ragged on this film so much. Does I remember when I reviewed this long ago? Sadly the review's not up anymore. Like, all the comments, "Oh, this sequel sucks. Oh, this sequel sucks. Why do you like this?" I'm like, what? I never knew it was that hated on. I watch this over any of these goddamn Marvel films nowadays. It's got adrenaline charge. Okay, I was talking about the cast. Chris Christopherson, Luke Goss, Norman Reedus, before The Walking Dead. He's in this as Scud. This guy who Blade saved and is part of the group. He was kind of doing stuff Whistler, Chris's character, was doing while Chris was gone. He's a fun addition. He has a nice rapport with Blade. Like, his sense of humor works well. Doesn't seem like it's out of left field. And he has this entertaining animosity between him and Christopherson's Whistler character. Ron Perlman is one of your villains, and I love his animosity with Blade. And he says one of those lines, "Can you blush?" Which is funny. It was not funny, but someone mentioned, well, what does that mean? Well, because he's black, and it's Ron Perlman being a racist prick. Can you blush? And it's like, ooh, that's such a nasty dig. And I thought Wesley Snipes played it off very well, where he beats the crap out of him, puts this damn, he's like, mess with him. Hey, catch this thing. Oh, do you see it again? He's fucking with Ron Perlman until he gets pissed and puts a bomb on his head. It's like, ooh, so exciting. Or, keep pushing, asshole. Blow your head sky high. I love it. I love the idea of the Blood Pact, where you had a group of vampires, including Donnie Yen, along with Ron Perlman and others, who have originally put together to kill Blade, but now they have to work together. I brought a new addition to the sequel, so I didn't feel like just a regurgitation of the first one. It was an intriguing change of pace where you have to join with your enemy to fight a worse threat. So you have the uneasiness of, can I trust these people, or they don't screw us over. Even Blade says, well, they don't fuck us the first chance they get, which is true. But so you have this interesting bond with some good actors. Ron Perlman, as a person, he's off the deep end and craziness compared to some of his Twitter posts recently, among other stuff. But I do think he's a good actor, and I think he worked well in the part. like mouthing to Blade and Blade laughing, or Blade, they work wonderfully. And the Donnie Yen, I will say one critique is Donnie Yen's underused. I think that's one of the reasons why Donnie Yen stopped doing these films. He decided to start doing films of his own more so because he probably felt, rightfully so, that he was being underused. Like, you have Donnie Yen, who's a fantastic martial artist, and he didn't really get to show much of his stuff in this. He got to show a little bit, but not nearly enough. I mean, yeah. But you have battles during this vampire rave bit where you see a bit of their body modification. Guillermo del Toro does bring some cool little ideas into it. I could tell, like, the whole vampires getting their body modified more so. That felt like the Del Toro touches, at least to me. The battles are entertaining. Now, here's another critique. Once in a while in these battles, they do these CG enhancements. Like, there's a bit where early on, these two vampires in these kind of high-tech Sam Fisher outfits, they break into Blade's place, and Blade's fighting them, and, good one-on-one, then two-on-one fights with swordplay and such. But there are times where this is CG stand-in, I guess, to do more impossible moves. Same with some of the fights, and particularly the end fight, which I love the end fight between Blade and Nomak. But once in a while, it's cool bits of the fight, and then there's a CG stand-in because they're trying to make it seem in one shot. I get the idea, like, you're beating someone up, but then as to not cut, where someone jumps on the wall, and they jump back, boom, and it goes back to reality. I get the intention of it. I think it's a valid intention to, well, we want to do this stuff and not where they're doing like a regular person and they do a crazy move that no way they could do, but the characters are doing it because they're vampires or they're supernatural, overly powered beings. I get what they're doing, but it just, maybe nowadays it could look more fluid, more natural. I just would have preferred them doing the old-fashioned way. Just using edits. Like very early on, Blade jumps off it, and he turns like CGI, but then when he lands, he's human, he's him again. But those are used little bits here and there. For the most part, the fights are done practically, and again, it's like, hey, Wesley Snipes knows what he's doing. And yeah, I liked his fight with Nomak. I would say I liked his fight more than the fight with Steven Dorff. I don't mind the fight in Steven Dorff, but it's a sword fight, and then he gets cut in half, and I still like the fight, but this one I liked how much more of a brawl it is. It's a much more of a knockdown, drag-out brawl, and much more technique involved as well. It's a mix of both. Like, I think they really elevated the final fight in this compared to the first one, where they're both taking hits at each other. Blade's trying to flip him, but then Nomad flips him again, but then Blade's able to break his arm, but then Nomad gets the arm back and I should say elbows him, and then Blade's trying to do some nice roundhouse kicks, not roundhouse kicks. And like I said, the CG additions, maybe I can deal with because I'm used to it, and I enjoy so much. But I just see maybe people the first time going, huh, that looked a bit funky. But I do think in retrospect they should have just gone with the old-fashioned edits. I'm not saying overly, but do what they can, and then just have a punch, and then cut to a guy flying back. Not try to make it look like it's all done in one shot. Like I said, I get the intention, but I just don't think the technology was there as of yet for that. I do like the soundtrack. I do... This has probably one of my favorite badass, just kick everybody's ass sequences I've ever seen in a film. If those who are seeing the movie, you know what I'm talking about when I say the name of the game. The Dearborn spoilers starting now. I mean, I know it spoils some, but super spoilers for the rest of the film. They find out what's going on. I think they really show a menace of the Reapers when they're taking out bits of the blood pack and just how much harder they are to kill compared to regular vampires. I think the movie keeps a good pace to it. Yeah, the girl who is there, isn't there. Or I do like that they don't go full romance with it. It's not like Blade has sex with the girl or anything. So I could deal with like this mutual... I don't know if I say attraction, but these little moments here, I could deal with it because they didn't go full force into out of the blue love story. So if you don't do that, at least the way they did it was more... It's better handled here, because there's no time for love, Dr. Jones. There's a lot of serious shit going on. So if you don't handle it, I thought it was handled better here than I've seen in other films where they truly force an out of the blue love story in there. But I mean, the actress was okay, who plays her, who's like the lead bad vampire's daughter. She was okay. I wouldn't say she's my favorite character in the movie, far from it. It's just with you got Norman Reedus and Whistler and Blade and Ron Perlman, you know, they just definitely overshadow her. But at one point they do get all this nest of Reapers in the sewers. They get these bombs, like these UV light bombs. Now, it's bullshit anyway. I just almost laugh a bit when the light bomb happens and the light's like curving the damn sewer wall. So it's like it's light, but yet it's like a bomb that keeps going, but it's light, but it's like a... Don't ask me how that works technological wise. I'll just go with it. I'll just say that. If you say so. But you find out they get captured. Spoilers, you find out Norman Reedus is a two-faced prick. The bomb with Ron Perlman never was going to work anyway. And then Wesley Snipes said, well, number one, I knew what you were doing since the day they turned you. And two, it's not a dud. And you did a really cool practical explosion. Goodbye, Norman Reedus. But don't worry, you'll be in The Walking Dead in a few years anyway. And then they want his blood because the vampires want the combination of Daywalker and other stuff so that all their vices, all their weaknesses are gone. But one leads to another. Whistler's able to help Blade. Blade gets some blood, just rejuvenated, and kissed the ever-loving fuck out of all these guards. These human guards, and they do state that there are human guards earlier in the film. And again, one of my favorite, just beating ass, beating the shit out of everybody. It's a rousing moment. People go, oh, well, they go one at a time to the hero. I'm fine with that as long as I get satisfied. And I love the choice of, it's the name of the game. And just the way Guillermo del Toro shot the scene, the angles he used, you really get the sense of just power Blade has. Ticket people, they fly across the room. He stomps on heads. You see the helmet crack, your blood spray. He's punching people. He's fucking, ticket people in the ground, breaking people's necks. Even a fucking suplex. Suplex City, bitch. Just, I love it. I fucking love it. I fucking love it. I came, I went, I came again, I went again. It's like an action fan orgasm, man. Fucking love it. And I'm like, how the fuck can you hate a movie with a badass scene like that? Fucking badass. Again, showcasing Wesley Snipes' martial arts expertise, and Del Toro, with the edits he used, did a great job. Wasn't confusing, understand what was going on, didn't great song. My favorite scene in the movie, love it. And even how he takes out Ron Perlman. Do you blush? Cuts him right in half. I'm like, yeah, fucking, that's motherfucking Blade. You really think Mahershala Ali and what the fuck Disney's gonna do with Blade? Disney. Pussy ass Disney. You think anything they're gonna do is gonna beat that fucking scene in this movie? Get fuck out of my face. Bullshit my dick. And then you have that kick-ass fight with Nomak, which I enjoy. And then the bitch... Well, she's not a bitch, but... I said that because I remember the commentary track where Wesley Snipes is actually on the commentary with David Goyer, which is funny in retrospect, because a few years later they hated, Wesley Snipes was ready to kill David Goyer's scenes, but here they're on the commentary track together, and there's a bit where the lady disappears in his hand because she's dying and she turns to dust, and Wesley Snipes in the commentary is like, look at my face. The bitch fell apart in my hands. He says something like that on the commentary. Oh my god. The bitch fell apart in my hands. Bitch fell apart. That cracked the fuck up out of me. I didn't watch the commentary again. I should. I just didn't have time. But I do remember that part of the commentary. If you have the film, you don't blame me, feel free to watch that commentary. But I thought this sequel, despite a little nitpick I said, I thought it amplified the horror aspect. I thought the threat was even more drastic. It didn't feel like just a copy regurgitation of the first film. I enjoyed the action in the first film. I like the action in this even more. The cast, then Norman Reedus, for as little as he has, Donnie Yen, Ron Perlman, Chris Christopherson, even again Luke Goss. Again, the music worked. The Guillermo del Toro touches of, I don't know if I want to say, well, a little bit of body horror that's put in there. To me, it's a badass movie. It's a kick-ass movie. And, like I said, I don't understand the hate this film has gotten. Never understood it. I do think it's a sequel that did a better... Blade was great, and this did even better. That's just my opinion. With that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.